big names and them big buildings, that's big business. Hit 10, but that's big pimpin'. My potential, that's infinite. Pin game insane, make hits like King Griffin.
All right, welcome to episode 7 of the 10th Inning Podcast. I'm Sean Meyer. He's Dan Vario. And Dan, you care to tell us about our guest here? Our first ever guest on the 10th Inning Podcast.
Of course. This is the guy I have been referencing. You guys wait to see. Unfortunately, I was supposed to go down there. Like I said, my flight got canceled, so I'm not with him. But I could not lie to you guys the second week in a row. I had to bring a guy on the pod. This is the Astros fan, the Verlander fan, Zeke Wigutow. How you doing, pal?
How's it going? It's a pleasure to be on here. Big surprise for me today, waking up and hearing about it, but very excited to be part of this.
Yeah, I hadn't even told him the last couple of weeks. I was just going to go there and be like, you jumping on the pod with me. But obviously that didn't happen, so I had to tell him this morning. But where are we going in the world first, Sean? What are we doing here?
I just want to ask why Verlander? Like, why was he your guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I would say what you do is you look at the man, and he's got incredible thighs. He wears really tight pants.
He does.
And he's the best pitcher of the century. Throws absolute 100-mile-an-hour gas with the nastiest curveball in the game. You know, great slider, great changeup to go along with it. And he was just the pitcher I always wanted to be growing up. And he's also married to Kate Upton, the hottest woman in the world.
That is a fact. That is
he has sex with her regularly and produces children with her. And there's just nothing about him that there isn't to love.
I get the feeling that Dan does not agree with that statement. But hey, it's what makes the world go around, right?
That's what makes it go spinny. Getting to the World Series, I can't bear to listen to this garbage anymore. God, well, I was finally wrong. We did it, folks. I was not correct. Brantley did not show up. He went 0 for in what was that, game 3?
Yeah, 3.
In game 3, he went 0 for. And Ian Anderson, I mean, my guy, he only went 5, but as I said, if you're going 5, that's like going 9 these days.
Yeah, nowadays going 5 in playoffs.
And shutout ball. So good for him. Happy to see him do it. And I mean, the story of the game is yet again the Braves bullpen. You're just not doing anything. I mean, they throw out lefty after lefty. Luke Jackson, nice to see him come back and have another decent game. It really just seemed like he was struggling against the Dodgers, but Matzik and Smith at the end, Sean, it's lights out. It's like the game's over. There's no shot.
Yeah. Well, Smith is unhittable. Absolutely unhittable.
It's amazing because the Astros have a great offense, and the Braves have really just pretty much stymied them. So that was it, 2-0. I mean, anything else to add? It kind of just was what it was. Darno hit a bomb. That was the game.
Ex-Met right there, by the way. The Braves have it, they just got it. So there's no way to really quantify it. They just kind of have that it factor. They're just clutch. I mean, Jock Peterson and Eddie Rosario are looking like Babe Ruth out there on the regular basis. That's just no one knew that was coming. I mean, Eddie Rosario got traded to the Braves for, okay, you did. All right. But Eddie Rosario basically got traded to the Braves for a pack of peanuts. You know what I mean? Like, they traded for Pablo Sandoval and then got cut. So, I mean, no one expected this.
Zeke, I know you've been very busy lately, but do you have any perspective on maybe why the Astros hitters have been struggling these last couple of games?
Yeah, no. So I watched the first couple. I haven't really been up on the last couple, but I honestly couldn't tell you because going into this series, I've never seen. If you look at the Astros lineup from 1 to 7, you got Altuve, who's a career guy, always 270s, 280s with 30-plus jacks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and shows up in the biggest moments. And he's been balling out this series. But then you got Brantley, 300, maybe one of the best contact hitters in the game, super consistent.
Sure.
Bregman, who I'm wondering why they're hitting Bregman in the 3-hole because he's been hurt and kind of been struggling. And I feel like they should move him down. I've been thinking that for a while. Then you got Jordan, who, was
one of my favorite players.
He's a stud.
Nothing more to say.
Yeah.
And then Correa, you know how I feel about Carlos.
Yeah,
the greatest shortstop in the game.
Oh, wow. Hot takes are flying.
Arguably, their best hitter is hitting number 6 in Kyle Tucker, who is the best hitter in baseball from May 1st on. And he was red hot coming into the series as well. And then Yuli Gurriel, the number 7 hitter, was the AL batting champ.
Yeah.
That's just telling me that I've been high on the Braves pitching for a while, and I think it's them more so than the Astros. I think the Braves are just pitching great.
Yeah, the interesting thing is going into the season, I think the Braves bullpen was a bit of a question mark.
And the Braves starting rotation. Bakota ranked them to come in like 4th simply because they said their starters were not experienced enough. That was like the main reason. They said they'd only.
And to be fair, their starters weren't great in the regular season. They're just shoving it in the playoffs right now. So it doesn't really make sense per se, but hey, it's playoffs for you.
I mean, I'll harken back to this only because I got still a lot of distaste in my mouth with Daddy Dave. I think Brian's pushing the right buttons at the right time. I think Mr. Snicker's got a good pulse on what's going on, and he's utilizing the guys in the right places to be successful. The biggest thing I took away from Zeke's little statement about the Braves pitchers is that I think we might have the same blanket. That's about the only thing I took away from it.
That's fantastic.
Look at that. Isn't that amazing?
That's fantastic.
And isn't this like the best blanket ever?
Oh, Zeke, it's phenomenal.
That's something.
Anyway, moving on to game.
But I actually did want to
go for it.
I want to get your guys' opinions. Ian Anderson got taken out after 5 innings with a no-hitter going. He had like 76, 77 pitches. Obviously, it was unlikely he was going to, go full 9 innings. But what do you guys think of that? Being taken out with was it a perfect game or was it a no-hitter?
It was not a perfect game. He had 3 walks.
Gotcha. All right, so no-hitter. But still, what do you guys think of that?
I think he had 4 strikeouts and 3 walks. And, I mean, I was not watching that last couple innings, so I don't know what the contact was like. I trust Brian, but I get it. Like, he had a no-hitter going, only 76 pitches. You're in a World Series, as we've preached again and again, get innings when you can get innings because you don't know when you're going to be able to get them again.
Plus, they had a bullpen game the next game, so.
Exactly. But with 3 walks, I mean, in a game where you're only up 1-0 at that point, there's no margin for error. If he goes out for the 6th and he doesn't have it, or there's even a chance he doesn't have it, it's 2-1. It's over. You know what I mean? So you have to be proactive rather than reactive in a 1-0 game. And I can't blame him for being like, I don't even want to take the chance. I know what my bullpen can do. Let's just get the win. Not that that's guaranteed anyway. Bullpen can fuck up, but that's probably the mindset of the manager.
Yeah, no, I mean, and at least for me, this is the idea that a pitcher that is thrown 5 no-hit innings and is at 75 or so pitches could be taken out of a game is what tells me that I think baseball is – it makes it hard for me to watch sometimes. It's my favorite sport and I love the game, but it's hard to watch when you're seeing – I don't think Brian Snicker made that decision. I'm going to say that right now.
It's also probably the game plan.
I'm telling you that he was told that if Ian Anderson can get through 5 innings,
that's it.
He's not allowed to face the lineup a 3rd time, and that's it. And he's out of the game. And I'm telling you, I guarantee Brian Snicker was pissed off and wanted to keep him in there. And the fact that that's what baseball is, where you have a spreadsheet before the game that tells you what can happen, and it's very frustrating because, at least for me, pitching has always been my favorite part of the game. And great pitching performances are like the most special things you're going to see.
Yeah.
And no, he wasn't going to throw the no-hitter. That's not really what bothers me. He would have needed to average about 10 pitches an inning for 4 innings to have a chance. And against that Astros lineup, they would start working counts and building it up. So that wasn't going to happen, but he had at least 2 more innings in him. And it's not like you have to, if he gets into a bit of trouble, they can yank him. It's not like the bullpen is magic either. So I was very upset.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off that. I agree with pretty much everything you said there. I get, we're a bit more old school here with our thoughts on baseball, I think. But I agree with you. Like, he's shoving, just let him go. Like if he gives up a hit and it's like a rocket double or something, and you feel like, all right, maybe he's starting to slip, absolutely bring someone else in. But another thing that I thought was interesting was Ian Anderson didn't seem too upset about being taken out, which
I don't think Ian Anderson thought he was getting through 5 that night. I mean, he hadn't been good. That's the only, like, I'm always on board with what you guys are saying. You know, I'm the biggest let the guy go. But like, no one in their mothers thought Ian Anderson was getting through 5, especially not no hit. So it was kind of like one of those things where he got lucky. He's like, well, thank Jesus Christ. All right, like, let's stop pushing our luck here.
Yeah.
Because this isn't going to end well. And I'd rather have relievers come in fresh in an inning where they just come, this is their inning. You know, stop playing the mind games where they're coming out, you know, after the Rocket double in a 1-0 game. They can't give up a base hit or now they're screwed. Do you know what I mean? Like, I get it, 100% let him go, but not Ian Anderson. Verlander, let Verlander go in that situation. Let Scherzer go. Let Kershaw go in that situation.
Yeah.
Ian Anderson, I feel like, is a little bit – he hasn't been perfect in the playoffs even last year.
His playoff ERA, I'm going to pull this up in a sec, but I'm pretty sure it's like in the 2s, and he's been arguably one of the best pitchers in the postseason the last couple of years. I think
last year he was good, but this year in the Dodgers series he really wasn't.
He had the one bad start, right? But we're going to pull this up here.
Yeah, last year he got some important outs, but recently in the last series he has not, and this year he didn't perform like he did last year in the regular season. He was great, but he didn't really perform this year in the regular season.
And to kind of go off what you're saying there, Dan, in the regular season, you know, pitchers are pushed less and less. So maybe he wasn't in the right, right spot, condition, whatever it was to keep going.
There's plenty.
So, I mean, I don't hate the decision they took him out. I understand it.
Yeah.
But like Zeke was saying, for just the overall sport of baseball,
you gotta let the guy go.
I want the pitcher to go. You know what I mean? Like, but I can see, the arguments on both sides. I really can.
Well, Zeke looks that up. Let's shift over to game 4.
Yeah.
3-2 game. This one was a little bit more of a thriller, right? I was definitely wrong in that I thought this was going to be an offensive series. I thought this was going to be Dodgers Astros back and forth battle, but it has been pitching dominated.
Well, the Braves went with opener. I forget who opened, but he didn't even make it out of the first inning. It was bases loaded and I think 1 out in the first inning.
Yeah.
The Braves were able to hold the Astros to only 1 run in the first inning, which is the theme of the night, because the Astros left, I think by the 7th inning, they had like over 10 men left on base.
Yeah.
Like they just could not hit in the clutch. They got runners on base in the first few innings, actually throughout the game. They just couldn't, get them in, and they're up 2-0. It was looking decent for them, and the Braves eventually kind of got going with their offense. And huge home run by Dansby Swanson and
Apo Taco too.
Yeah.
For Dansby to do it,
I know.
I mean, no one's outside pitch, and he just went with it. It was just thrown so hard by Javier, right? I think that was Javier.
Yeah.
He just slapped, and it just got over that brick wall.
Yeah.
That was.
And both Soler and his home runs barely got out.
George's went over by. I mean, I can't even say what I'm thinking. It just went over by that. I mean, it was nothing. And Jordan, I really feel like a skilled left fielder catches that ball. I really do. He looked lost out there.
Yeah.
It's not his home field, but
no.
I mean, he's not a fielder. He's a DH, through and through.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't blame him. I'm just saying with a better defense, there's a shot someone catches that ball.
Yeah. And ironically enough, I believe the next half inning, Eddie Rosario made a great catch in that same exact spot. It wasn't going to be a home run, but he was right up against the ball, reached out and caught it. So that, goes well with what you're saying right there. It was just, a very much pitching dominated game to go along with the series.
And then again, you get the last 3: Matzik, Luke Jackson, and Will Smith. Game over. And I mean, you can't forget who was it? Kyle Wright. Kyle Wright gave a lot of big innings in that game. Yeah, another young guy stepping up, which was really awesome to see. Zeke, you got some info?
I do, and I'm right. So he's 2-0 with a 1.59 ERA in 17 innings this postseason. For his career, he's 4-0 with a 1.26 ERA in 35 2/3 innings in the playoffs in his career. So he's been one of the, he's not giving them great length, but he's averaged about 4 or 5 innings on 1 run to start.
Yeah. 2021 baseball for you.
That's how it is. And it is easier, obviously, to put up those kind of numbers when you're only going short. And maybe that's what they were thinking. Like, they don't want to – this is what he's been good at. Mm-hmm. Let's keep it to what he's been good at and not find out what he's not good at. in a way, I wish they did that with Kershaw earlier in his career, because when he had all those blow-up starts in the playoffs, a lot of them, I don't know if you guys remember, were like St. Louis Cardinals. He had pitched 6 shutout innings, and then we're talking like he's given up 7 runs in the 7th inning. What manager would allow a pitcher, 7 innings into a game to even be in that position?
Don.
Thank you, Don Mattingly.
Don or Dave, who's worse? I don't know.
Dave is better with starters. Dave's worse with everything else. Regardless, Zeke, you have any thoughts on the 3-2 victory?
Yeah. So first, you guys it sounded like you were being a little bit disrespectful towards Dansby Swanson, being all surprised about. I think he's a great player and former number 1 overall pick, prospect, lots of hype. Maybe he hasn't quite lived up to that, but if you look at him, been one of the more solid shortstops in baseball, especially the last couple of years. He hits for a good average. He has some power, plays a really solid field. He's been a bit quiet in the playoffs, but I think he's a really underrated player, and I think he's better than people give him credit for.
I think the power, especially Oppo Taco power, was what surprised me. I mean, he's a decent little player. What'd you say?
He hit right about 30 yaks.
Yeah, but I mean, who didn't now?
This year, the home runs were down a bit.
Yeah.
They were down a little bit. Yeah.
The juice ball was de-juiced. I don't know. They've been playing around with that a lot recently.
They have been. It's been tough to figure out what exactly they're going to decide to do. But that's something we'll talk about in the offseason.
Yeah.
Too.
But Dansby Swanson, he also seems to be almost like a glue guy too. All the players love him. He's got that kind of swagger to him. He's got the confidence. Like I know, like you said, he's number 1 pick. He hasn't necessarily lived up to the hype.
No, I mean, before this year, probably most home runs was probably under 15.
Yeah, but
put it this way. Last year too. But
if Dansby Swanson isn't on the Braves roster, they're not where they're at. He's a very important part to the team.
Yeah.
But he does have a lot of home runs, but still opposite field. That was struck.
That was a bomb. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, that was. But good for him. I mean, it's nice to see someone who's been there for a couple of years.
Yeah.
To come up with the big hit to tie it up. That was awesome to see.
Yeah. Another thing that's really cool this time of year is just the pure like joy and elation you see on players in the dugout. Like you see grown men making multi-million dollars a year, and they're in the dugout. They're going nuts. They look like they're kids in Little League. I always love seeing that.
Yeah. It's at the end of the day, it is a game. Believe it or not, it is a game, which is just amazing that they're able to do that for a living and that we're able to experience it. But do you have any non-playoff baseball related news you want to jump into first, Sean?
Yeah. So the Padres made a huge hiring, in my opinion. With their manager, they hired Bob Melvin, who has been with the A's for, I want to say, going on like 10 years. He was under contract. The A's gave him permission to interview with San Diego, which I thought was very interesting because Bob Melvin is, believed to be one of the better managers of baseball. He gets a lot out of his teams, much like Cash does in Tampa Bay. He gets, they don't have a big payroll, but they make do with what they've got, and he is a really good manager from what other people say. I know Yoenis Cespedes said he was the best manager he's ever played for, and if Yo's saying that, I'm believing it. But that's a huge pickup for the Padres because the Padres they look like they needed someone who had some experience and could tell them it's going to be okay because they free fell last year. They went from fighting for first in the NL West to not even making a wild card. And I saw something else that a lot of people were talking on Twitter. I think Jeff Passan was talking about on ESPN that the fact that they let Bob Melvin go, Oakland did, they could mean they're going to be trading off a lot of assets this winter. I think Chapman, the third baseman, is going to be do arbitration this offseason so that he's going to get a huge raise. We know Oakland doesn't like to pay players. So I think we could see a lot of movement coming out of Oakland as far as players being traded. We'll obviously get into that more in the offseason. But yeah, Bob Melvin going to San Diego, it's a huge move in my opinion because the Padres just need that guiding force, So
I'm going to piggyback a little bit off what you said with the payroll situation. So first off, it's a three-year deal. He's got $12 million guaranteed. And something that I read was the reason that they decided to allow him to, go interview with the Padres and really were letting him go is, quote, Melvin was going to be about $4 million this year, and the club expects to slash payroll for 2022. Bob Melvin would have been the 6th highest paid player or personnel on the Athletics this year. The most was Mark Cano, who made like 6.5 this year. Their payroll was $51 million in 2021. They're slashing it. They can't afford to keep Bob Melvin. I mean, Jesus Christ, guys.
How can you be a team?
How can you be a team? It's like you guys are making the playoffs like 6 out of the 11 years he's there. You're constantly right there, very close.
Yeah.
You realize if you maybe spend a little more, you'd have a shot. But now they're like going to slash 51. They were 21st in baseball in payroll. You're going to slash that? You can't afford a manager? First off,
same team that traded Josh Donaldson because they were afraid that, he was going to get too good too quickly and they couldn't afford him. He goes to Toronto, wins the MVP. Can't tell me that they couldn't have used him.
Yeah, this is bad for baseball. I mean, the thought of like a minimum salary cap is starting to come into play, just because like if you're an owner and if you don't want to put up this much money, you can't be a team because that means you're not trying to win or you're not acquiring players. I don't even know what to say other than that. It's like you can't allow this to happen. You can't have teams just reaping in ticket revenue and not putting a productive and not wanting to put players on the field or not play players. It's just too bad. Like we need competition here. Athletics are good. They have good fundamentals. They have, good data and analytics.
Yeah.
Spend more than $6 million on Mark Canha. I don't know.
To further put this in context, the A's apparently are moving forward with a stadium in the Oakland area. Which
thank you for bringing up $1 billion, by the way.
Yes.
They are
how much
chill. A bill. They are chill with $1 billion waterfront stadium is what they're going with.
I don't know how much the city or county is going to pay, but
I think it's 5 and 5.
You can't justify getting a new stadium and then not spending money on your manager, who would be the 6th highest, you said, on the payroll. I mean, I don't know. That seems very, counterproductive. It just doesn't make sense.
And maybe that's why they're cutting payroll, because they want to make, they're trying to save money for the stadium. I don't know. Like, stay in the Coliseum for a little bit. Maybe try and make a playoff run. Why don't you? I mean, the AL is pretty wide open right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And
I don't think there's any one team that's crazy.
Well, I would say that being in the AL West with the the Astros in the division, it makes it a little difficult for them.
And Seattle.
The AL is wide open right now. If the Athletics were to make like 3 or 4 big acquisitions, and I know they got Starling Marte, they tried some things out, but I'm talking real acquisitions, real starters. They could have done something this year. They were close. Once you get in the playoffs, it's like you never know what can happen.
The thing with the A's, they got a lot of fans. They have a lot of history too. They had some great players in their history, and they used to actually spend money. So I don't understand why now they're the opposite. They used to be a big, player in free agency. They had like Mark McGuire, Jose Canseco, guys like that, and now
Raleigh
they
Fingers
can't
with the stash.
Yeah, they were so good. They spent money, and now for some reason, I assume it's a different ownership now. Yeah. But like you said, if you're going to own a team in any sport for that matter, there should be some sort of rules and like regulations that you have to abide by to at least have a floor, like a cap, like a floor to go by. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we'll see that, happen at some point, but that just, if you get to a point where you're almost not even fielding a competitive team, like why are you even owning the team? I just don't understand.
Yeah. And it's also really demoralizing for the players. Yeah. Because it's like they're trying so hard. They're giving everything to the organization. They're following these new data analytics. It's demoralizing to your staff too. We're pumping out as much as we can do. We're giving you as much data as we can. We're putting ourselves in the best position to win, but you're not willing to help us monetarily whatsoever. So it's like, why are we trying this hard if we're clearly not that interested in going for it? Yeah. Like, what's the point? But if you don't have any other baseball related news, I have one more thing.
Go right ahead.
Near and dear to the heart, Mr. Yasiel Puig. Okay. I believe the charges were finally just dropped on his domestic abuse case, and he is ready. He is continually tweeting he wants to be on a team this year. And I know I've had some I didn't love him on the Dodgers at a certain point in time. You know, licking the bat, basically close my eyes on a fly ball. But get him on a team. Baseball needs Yasiel Puig. There's a reason this guy was the cover of MLB The Show after half a season. I mean, this is the Cuban import Puig. This is the guy. He's exciting. He's what memes are made of. This is what's going to attract a younger generation. And frankly, he's not a half-bad player and fairly clutch in the playoffs too. Zeke, what do you think? Do you think Puig should be on a roster in 2020?
There's no doubt. I love the man. Like he does nothing but provide entertainment, and at the same time, he plays a decent game. Yeah. I mean, he's obviously had injuries and been inconsistent, hasn't been on the field, but when he's healthy and mentally half there, he's certainly, at least a league average player with better potential than that. So no matter what, I want him for entertainment, but I think a team could get value out of him too.
Yeah. What, 2 years? 2 years since he's been on the team?
2 years. I'm trying to pull it up right now. Last time he was on a team was in Cleveland for half a season. Played 50 games with them. He hit 297 with the 377 OBP. For that full year, he went. This is a guy 30 doubles, 24 bombs, 85 ribs, and 19 bags.
Yeah,
that's playing
significantly above average.
Significantly in 150 games, he had 267 with a 327 that year. That's not like that's you would take that. Anybody would take that with a decent glove. I mean, the glove is very good. Where it becomes decent is decision making.
He's got a cannon for an arm.
Oh, cannon for an arm. I had read something on his tweet where they were kind of promoting like someone should take a look at him. I think he was like second the MVP in the Mexican or whatever league he played in to keep himself. So he is playing. He's keeping himself in shape.
Yeah.
The guy is a major league player. Like there's just no doubts in my mind about that. It's just what team is going to take. Bring him back to the Dodgers. I'm ready for it this time. I want to see it.
You say that now. You say that now. When he starts licking his bat again, I don't know how you're gonna feel.
I'll lose my mind. Yeah.
But to go along with someone playing, I think the Mexican Winter League, whatever it is, Albert Pujols is gonna play this winter for like the first time in his career in one of those leagues, the Mexican Winter League or the Dominican. But anyway, he wants to keep playing in the majors, so he's trying to prove to people he's still got the skill set to play, which is good on him. First time in his career he's had to do this, but we wish him the best of luck. But I think he's kind of past.
This just isn't what I want to. This isn't what you want to see like your hero do. You kind of want your hero to get the message. Like it's tough. I mean, I can't imagine being the best at something, and then just one day like just not being able to even be on the same playing field as the average person. I
mean, this has been something that's been going on for almost 10 years at this point. His decline.
Yeah.
But you look at his numbers, his first, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10 years, he was insane. Unbelievable.
Probably top 15, top 10 prime of all time.
He had a Hall of Fame career in his first 10 years.
100%.
It's good for him because he's had probably shouldn't have even been playing career for the last 10. But and it's hard for me to even remember because he's been mediocre to bad for so long. Like you forget like just how like great he was, and he was like so great.
Yeah, I remember seeing him when I was younger. I went to a Mets game when he was still in the Cardinals, and he hit 2 bombs and a double. The game that I went to, one of the greatest games, not greatest games, but one of the greatest memories I have is just seeing him come to the plate. And it was in the time where like you knew he was going to do something, like you weren't going to get Albert out.
The machine, all he does is produce.
That's it.
That batting stance, that look he used to have in his eye, like that menacing look, like he was
the timing. It's just
It's sad to see what's. I don't want to say it's sad. It's tough to see what's become of him. But here's the thing: he's like 40 years old at this point. I mean, he should just call it a career.
You want to see him go out like Poppy, where it's like you have that last season, everyone knows you're getting gifts. You're also damn near third in the MVP. I mean, you know what I mean? Like that's what you want out of a guy like that. By the way, Ortiz really almost should have won MVP his last season. He was like batshit crazy that year. But
good analyst. Great analyst.
You don't want Pujols to have to. Okay, you don't want Pujols to have to go to a Mexican winter league to try and prove his worth on a major league team. Like that hurts my heart.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine that. I guess the last thing, unless anyone has anything else to say, we can speak about is Game 5. We got Tucker Davidson, who has yet to pitch in the playoffs this year. So I leaked news. Brian Snicker called Dave Roberts, asked him who he should start. Dave took a look down the roster. He said, "Is there anyone who pitched less than 30 innings in the regular season this year and has not pitched yet in the playoffs?" And he said, Tucker Davidson? Dave's like, "That's the guy. Let's start him. Game 5. This is a clinching game. Tucker's going to take the ball. We got it. Guaranteed." And that's what Snicker's going with. Just some peripheral info on Tucker. His last game started. His last time he appeared on the mound was June 15th. He started 4 games this year for the Atlanta Braves to the tune of a 3.60.
Remember when you said you trusted Brian Snicker and his belief and all that like 10 minutes ago?
Yeah, I remember. He's supposed to go like an inning maybe, and then Drew Smiley's gonna, I think, take bulk of the innings tonight. Is what I've heard. But Tucker Davidson getting the start in a pivotal Game 5.
I hate the opener, especially in the World Series Game 5. Why are we doing this?
Makes no sense.
Why?
If Tucker Davidson gets lit up, how do you answer the questions after the game? What are you gonna say?
What do you expect? He's gonna get lit up. I mean,
his first pitch he's throwing to Jose Altuve, he's gonna be swinging out of his shoes, and like that could be a 500-foot bomb. Game over.
You don't think the Astros are just sitting there right now, just like hyped? All right, we're facing this guy who hasn't pitched since June 15th.
Could you imagine, like 10 years ago, you're gonna have like a 23-year-old who hasn't started in 2 months start Game 5 of the World Series? Could you fucking imagine?
I'll tell you though, what if it's a situation? What was Brian Wilson, right? That's his name. From last year, the Braves. He made this start against, I think it was the Dodgers, right? Out of nowhere, he needed to
Bryce
start.
Wilson.
Bryce Wilson, yes.
Bryce Wilson, yeah.
Bryce Wilson, and he was great. So maybe it's that situation.
I don't know. Go back to let's do the San Francisco Giants of the 2010s. They thrown some guy that's like, I don't know. It just, you know what? I hope it works out for them.
God bless their soul.
But I just don't know if that's the right way to go about it.
What do we got? What do we got for tonight, Zeke? What is your prediction for tonight and the rest of the series?
All right. So what I'm going to say is the Braves need to win tonight, because if it goes back to Houston, series over, Astros blow them out, Game 6 and 7, Minute Maid is rocking. They might even get Verlander to make an appearance. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, wow.
So series over. That being said, I have a weird feeling. Braves haven't lost at home yet. I'm thinking something special out of Tucker Davidson. Drew Smiley's going to turn back the clock to when he was never good, but he'll still try to turn back the clock.
He was great. He just lost every game, but he was great.
Oh, no, that's fair. And I think that the Braves find a way to get it done in another relatively low-scoring game, and I think I'm going to go with the Braves 3, the Astros 1.
Okay.
Shawnee Babe, what do you got?
I'm feeling a little bit more of an offensive outburst from the Astros. I think they're gonna get to this kid. I think the first inning is gonna be a tough one. For what's his name again? I apologize.
Tucker Davidson. It's not your fault.
Tucker Davidson. All right. Okay. All right. Anyway, I think the final score is gonna be 6-2 Astros. I think this goes back to Houston. You know, the Indians came back from a 3-1 deficit in the World Series in 2016. It's been done before. You know, I'm not gonna jump out on the ledge yet and say that the Astros come back and even this series out and we got a Game 7. But I'm just gonna say I won't be shocked if there is a Game 7 back in Houston.
Hearing Zeke talk, I'm just starting to get on the Tucker Davidson train. I can't help myself. If Tucker Davidson shoves more than 3 innings tonight with no runs, we're all getting Tucker Davidson jerseys. Okay, that's just how it's gotta go.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. We got to get him on the pod. And frankly, I think he's probably getting paid less enough where he might be able to come on this pod. Like, we might be able to get Tucker Davidson.
We just can't have him listen to the first half of this episode because we were just kind of ripping him. But hey, our minds can be changed.
I do think I'm upset that I think the Braves are going to win because this, I don't want to say boring, but baseball needed a really crazy World Series. And this has not been a crazy, crazy World Series thus far. Games have been intense and interesting and tight, but like there hasn't been a lot of crazy back and forth. I think the Braves win a World Series in 5. I really do. I think it's going to be 4-3 tonight. I think Freddie Freeman does something special.
So you're saying you think the Braves break the Atlanta sports curse?
I do.
Okay.
I do. That's all I got for you. Michael Brantley never had a game-winning hit, and I'm upset.
Well, you never know. Maybe tonight's the night.
Maybe tonight is the night. But that's all I got, Shoney. You want to close us out unless you got anything else?
I'm good. Zeke, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. This has been the 10th Inning Podcast. Oh, shit. I fucked that up. Cut that out. Cut that out. I messed that up. All right. My bad. All right. Like and subscribe on our YouTube, the 10th Inning Podcast. Also, on Instagram, we are _10th Inning. Please like and follow and subscribe. We love it. We appreciate you doing that. And we're going to get some good games. I feel like this could go 7. So
okay. We got 7-5-5. Justin Verlander. Zeke, thank you for joining us. You've been phenomenal. I'm going to go eat some pancakes. We'll see you guys for episode 8.